Work at height. This video includes training on work at height and associated work permit. Validation quiz. Duration 1 hour training and exercise. 30 minutes discussion. 30 minutes quiz. The following are the objective of this training. Defining work at height. Hazards associated with work at height. Safety precautions for work at height. Hierarchy of controls for work at height. Fall arrest system. Learning to fill work at height permit correctly. Pass quiz with 90% score. Training. All persons approved either to issue or accept permits to work should have received sufficient training and on-the-job experience. This training shall be validated and recorded by the management. This requirement also applies to non-PCBL employees or contractors. Work at height. Work at any place where, if precautions were not taken, a person could fall a distance liable to cause personal injury. Section 32, C, Factories Act, 1948. When any person has to work at a height from where he is likely to fall, provision shall be made, by fencing or otherwise, to ensure the safety of the person so working. Hazards and risks in working at height. Fall from height, major injury, fatality. Struck by falling objects, debris. Electrocution. Stuck against contact with hard surfaces, hot or cold surfaces, equipment, pipelines, sharp edges, tools, etc. Strain and sprain musculoskeletal injuries. Exposure to extreme weather conditions, direct sun, heat, cold, high winds, rain, dust. Biological hazards, snakes, honey bees. Precautions for work at height. Work plan identifying location, nature, scope of work, safe work procedure, SOP or WI. HERA or JSA. Competent, certified personnel. Tested, certified fall arrest system, full body harness web, stitching, declamps rings, adjusters, lanyards, lanyard hooks, spring-loaded safety latch, anchor connectors. Identified, tested, marked anchor points. Safe means of access and descent. MEWP. Do not carry anything in hand while climbing up or down on a ladder. Always ensure 3-point contact. Use tool lanyard while carrying, using tools at height. Eliminating protection from other hazards in the area. Means of communication. Supervision. Safety talk, toolbox talk. Other PPEs. Work at height rescue plan. Prefer work at height in daylight hours and moderate weather conditions. Hierarchy of controls for work at height. Level 1. Avoid working at height. Level 2. Choose alternative workplace somewhere where additional protective equipment aren't necessary and there is no risk of falling because preventative measures are already in place, such as on a balcony or parapet, or on machinery that has fixed guardrails to prevent falls. Level 3. Using guardrails, work platforms, MEWP. Level 4. Short lanyards travel restraints, which limit the worker's movement to the extent that a fall isn't possible. Level 5. By placing netting or airbags beneath the work area and close to it, thereby reducing the distance the worker could fall. Level 6. Use of fall arrest harness. Prevent hitting the ground, minimize injury due to fall. Less effective at low heights, less than 4 meters. Level 7. Use of netting or airbags to soften the impact of fall. Level 8. Minimize consequences through training and instruction. Fall arrest system. For height greater than 1.8 meters, safety harness must be worn. Anchor point, a secure point of attachment for lifelines, lanyards, or retractable lifelines. Double lanyard, a system utilizing two lanyards connected in a Y configuration, which allows one lanyard to be attached to an anchor point while the second lanyard is being moved to a new anchor point, thus providing protection at all times. Lifeline, a flexible cable, either horizontal or vertical, which is anchored at both ends and to which other personal fall prevention devices can be attached. ABC of work at height. A. Anchorage. Anchorage connector. Anchorage, commonly referred to as a tie-off point, example, I-beam. Anchorage connector, used to join the connecting device to the anchorage. Example, crossarm strap. B. Body wear, this personal protective equipment worn by the worker, example, full body harness. C. Connecting device, the critical link which joins the body wear to the anchorage connector, example, shock-absorbing lanyard, shown, or retractable lifeline. Individually, these components will not provide protection from a fall. However, when used properly and in conjunction with each other, they form a personal fall arrest system that becomes vitally important for safety on the job site. A work at height permit, Permit B, must clearly identify the exact location of work, height from ground level or falls ground, anchor points, means of access, the scope nature of work, the date and authorized duration of the permit, prefer work at height and permit closure during daylight hours unless it's an emergency. The authorized, work at height certified, personnel at the location. The authorized personnel should be trained and certified for work at height, physically fit and with valid medical fitness certificate, tested and certified for not having fear of heights, vertigo, hypertension, epilepsy. Name of attendant standby persons. The standby person should be trained and certified for work at height, physically fit and with valid medical fitness certificate, trained for and good at communication over walkie-talkie, trained for height rescue. The hazards associated with the work location. The measures taken to eliminate control other hazards at work site. Means of communication between authorized personnel and standby person, walkie-talkie, whistle, verbal. Rescue plan, emergency contact details. Names and signatures of issuer, receiver and reviewer. Work at height permit must be a record that foreseeable hazards and the work to be done have been identified in advance, that all necessary precautions are defined and taken in the correct sequence. Be the record of the formal handover of control from one authority to another, and back. Flow of work permit. Issuer, owner, in charge. Receiver, acceptor. Reviewer. Responsibilities of issuer. Defining work scope, location and work statement. Inspect work site. Identify hazards and existing controls associated with work at height, location and nature of work to be carried out. Identify safety precautions, rescue measures, emergency contacts, and PPEs. Creating safe working conditions on site. Review work with permit acceptor. Issue work permit. Implement permit closure, handback procedure. Responsibilities of receiver. Understanding the work scope and statement. Understanding the potential hazards associated with work at height, location and nature of work. Accept the work. Agree to take the necessary precautions, measures and PPEs identified by the owner. Additional precautions and PPEs may be used. Comply with permit closing procedure. Accept the permit, sign the permit. Validity of permit B. 8 hours. To be extended, renewed every 8 hours. Extended for maximum limit provided, 5 times. Prefer work at height during daylight hours in moderate weather conditions. Permit closure, when the job is completed to the satisfaction of issuer, an area confined space handed over to user. Permit cancellation. Change of intent, scope of work. Unforeseen hazards conditions are identified after work is started. Unsafe practices are being followed. Auditing of PTW is a mandatory requirement by plant personnel several times per year. Audit to be done by any plant personnel assigned by unit head, not necessarily the safety officer. Please ensure that every time you complete or sign a permit you give the task your fullest attention. Please remember, if you get it wrong, forget something, or overlook a hazard, you could be responsible for someone's death. We are open for any questions and discussions. Exercise. Please choose a partner and fill a work permit for replacement of tail gas knife gate valve, painting of intermediate building structure, replacement of damaged sheets of warehouse rooftop. It's now time for your validation quiz. Thank you.